So I've been really experimenting with credit cards over the last 5 years, accumulating over 1,000,000 points and miles across all of my cards, and today I'm revealing the best credit card strategy for travel you need going forward. And that includes those of you that may be seeing a credit card video for the first time or never even had a credit card in the first place, which is perfect because step number 1 is to just get started. Go out there, get a credit card, any credit card you can get. Preferably one without annual fees, but more on that later. Whether that be a card made for students or a secured card that you need to put up your own money to get it. Just by having the card and regularly spending on it, but most importantly, paying it off in full every single month will help you immensely for all the next steps in the strategy as well as your own life. Because building good habits with credit cards will lead you closer to a solid credit score that will ensure you're getting the best interest rates for mortgages in the future or just qualifying for rent in places like New York City. But even if you already qualify for the higher end cards, I'd still recommend your first card be a no annual fee card, because that means it won't cost you anything to keep the card open forever, lengthening your credit history, which is a contributor to your credit score at 15%. Number 2, foundational cards. Now before we get too fancy with the shiny metal cards, we gotta make sure we have a solid set of cards that make up the foundation of our setup. And unless you're filthy rich and don't care about the optimal strategy, everyone should have a set of foundational cards. And my choices here would be the Chase Freedom Unlimited and Chase Freedom Flex. And let me tell you why. First, these cards will cover a wide variety of categories for your spending while earning you Chase Ultimate Reward points. And yes, even though these cards are marketed as cashback cards, you're going to be getting points in your account instead. So instead of 1% cash back, you're getting 1 times points per dollar. You can then redeem these points where 1 point equals to 1 cent, but that's just one of the many ways you can use Chase points. Like if you have one of the Sapphire cards, you could combine your points and then go fly Delta One business class to Europe for just 50,000 Chase points, transferring over to Virgin Atlantic, dropping to just 38,500 points during times like these where there's a 30% transfer bonus. That one-way flight could cost you up to $3,300 in paid in cash, valuing your points at 6 to 8 or 9 cents per point. With so many different ways of redeeming Chase points, it's hard to really pinpoint a value of these points, but personally I usually pin it at 2 cents a point being good value. Which brings me to reason number 2 you want Chase Freedom cards, and that's because of the easy to get and lucrative sign-up bonuses, where for either card you're getting $200 when you're spending $500 on each of the cards, as well as 5 times points for groceries within the first year. That's more than $400 in bonuses or 40,000 points right off the bat. But where these foundational cards shine is in the elevated points you get for spending in certain categories. With a baseline 1.5 times points on all of your spend on the Unlimited, or 5 times points in rotating categories, including those like Amazon and PayPal on the Flex, combined with elevated points for dining and travel, just these cards alone will give you a wide variety of categories you earn elevated points on. And all of this while being no annual fee cards that are relatively easy to get is what makes these cards so good. That said, a bonus tip on why you should be getting Chase cards early on in your journey is because of the Chase 524 rule, where you won't get approved for new Chase cards if you've had more than 5 new cards in the last 24-month rolling period. And because Chase cards and points are so valuable, and to maximize the value you get, you want to get them early on in your journey so you can get the clock rolling. Because on the Chase Freedom cards, you can get the bonus once every 24 months. Meaning technically after 2 years, you can cancel the card, get it again, and trigger another sign-up bonus, whatever it is then. Number 3, supercharge cards. Now that you've built up a great foundation and have a bit of good credit history, now you want to look at some cards that will really beef up your base cards and add a little bit on top. And especially if you've got the Chase cards as your foundation cards, then here you'll either want to get the Chase Sapphire Preferred at $95 or Chase Sapphire Reserve at $550. But before you dismiss these cards because of the annual fees, just know that the value you get from these cards can easily pay for the annual fee multiple times over. Like on the preferred, you'll get an intro bonus of 60,000 points, where at a base 1 cent per point, that's $600. Or on the reserve, you're getting an elevated 80,000 points right now, worth at minimum $800, and $300 in credit to help offset that annual fee. Both of these cards have so much going for them, like having elevated value for your points when redeemed for travel, or more advanced travel and partner perks that you can learn more about up in the corner. But these cards really supercharge your setup in two ways. For one, they let you pool your points together and transfer them to partners for outsized value. We already went over the Delta example giving you 6 to 8 cents per point in value, but you could also stay at Hyatt hotels in high-end places like New York for 3 to 4 cents per point in value. And two, if luxury travel is not your thing, these cards let you redeem your points for more than 1 cent per point, like getting 25% more value on the preferred or 50% more value on the reserve when you're redeeming for travel through their Chase portal or through their pay yourself back categories with Airbnb on the preferred or Airbnb and dining on the reserve. All of these rates essentially supercharge the earning you get on all of your Chase cards, because 5 times points is like 6.25 or 7.5% cashback, or 3 times points turning to 3.75 or 4.5% cashback, and so on. So getting those cards in that order really stacks benefits on top of each other to make sure you're covering all of your bases. And just like the Freedom cards, you'll want to get these cards earlier on in your journey, because the bonuses on the Sapphire cards can be had once every 48 months, so get the clock started. But now that you've completed the Chase setup or trifecta, you want ways to still expand your portfolio of cards, whether you're trying to get even more points or just get value from triggering more sign-up bonuses. And so not everyone can do this next strategy, but more of you qualify than you think, and that's getting business credit cards. Now, I personally got my first business card just last week because of this YouTube side hobby, but you don't need a formal registered business to get these cards. If you make some type of income flipping items or selling on eBay, or even intend to start a business, then you probably qualify for business cards. I mean, if you can, this really unlocks a whole nother world of credit cards you can get to get thousands of dollars more in rewards. And the special part about business credit cards is that most of the time the spend does not hit your personal credit report, so it doesn't matter if you max these cards out. And business cards don't count towards the Chase 524 rule, so you can consider these cards when you're at or near that limit. Now that you have a pretty solid set of cards, you want to look for more unique or purpose-built cards to fill certain gaps in your setup. Cards that give you perks and benefits for specific parts of your own lifestyle. Say you fly with other people a lot and you have an Alaska hub near you, then you want to consider the Bank of America Alaska card, not only because of its free checked bags for you and up to 6 guests, which honestly could save you hundreds of dollars every year, but because of its famous companion fare, which lets you pay just $99 plus tax to have someone else fly with you anywhere Alaska flies. And because they fly to further places like Hawaii, you could say fly from the East Coast over to Hawaii, a ticket that could cost you almost $1,000 for just $99 plus tax, which will save you way more money than the $75 annual fee. Or maybe you fly Air Canada a lot and you want airline status. Then consider the Chase Aeroplan card, which will give you free 25K status for the rest of that year and the next, with a path towards 35K if you're willing to spend. I don't think there's any other card out there that is giving you free airline status like that. And speaking of status, if you're staying at Marriott properties a lot, then you want to consider the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, which will give you free Platinum Elite status, enabling you to get upgrades when you stay, including all the way up to suites. There are so many other unique perks to credit cards out there, from free night certificates to fast track on elite status. You just have to find the right ones for your specific lifestyle. Alright, number 6 is to consider another ecosystem. Up till now, we've mainly been talking about the Chase ecosystem, for a good reason, because of the awesome trifecta and the ability to get these cards again in the future and get another sign-up bonus. But at this stage, you might want to consider looking into another ecosystem to reap benefits there, or just maximize the value you can get. And for this, I'd really recommend American Express, because apart from Chase, American Express is essentially the second best ecosystem out there because of the ease of earning a lot of points from different cards and sign-up bonuses, and having almost as many great transfer partners like Chase does. The only downside is that American Express has a 1 bonus per card per person rule. So say you're targeted and you got the American Express Platinum card with 150,000 sign-up bonus. Then in the future, you're not going to be able to get that card again with that bonus. But you will be able to get the bonus on other versions of the card, like the Schwab Platinum or other Amex cards like the American Express Gold card. And just like Chase, American Express also has its own trifecta, with its Amex Platinum for travel, great perks and great protections, with the Amex Gold giving you great earnings on everyday categories like 4 times on dining and groceries, and then the Blue Business Plus for 2 times points on all of your spend. Amex cards should be at or near the top of the list for anyone considering credit cards. One of the only reasons I put it below Chase is because of Chase's 524 rule and the ability to get multiple Chase cards, which is why you want to start the clock on those cards first. But Amex and Chase cards aside, in recent years, more and more competition has been popping up. And so with step number 7, nowadays you have a lot of other options you can consider. One of which I strongly consider is the Capital One Venture X, because of its easy to use benefits and perks and enough value you get every year to more than offset the annual fee. Combine that with other cards in the Capital One ecosystem like the Savor One cards, and that'll give you a couple 100,000 points or a couple $1,000s for travel, or even more when redeemed for one of their partners similar to Chase and American Express. Or consider other trifectas like the Citi ecosystem, which closely mirrors that of the Chase one, but with special perks here and there like being more flexible in the categories you spend on. So that's my idea of the best credit card strategy to follow, whether you're getting your first card or your next. But to really understand how to get the maximum value for all of your points, you want to head on over to this video where I break it all down. See you over there.